Hey, Dan Meyer here, and I'm back once again with 5 more tips for you based on my experience, what I learned when I launched my first business after leaving Wells Fargo. So after a 15-year career as a business analyst in a big company, I decided to set up my own business to do analytics training. And so I launched my first business. And one of the first things I did to be successful was I hired some virtual assistants. So I want to talk to you about making your first hire. So it may not be a virtual assistant. They may not be from the Philippines like me, but you may find someone that at some point you need to hire because you got to delegate some things to free yourself up from having to do them yourself. So these are the 5 tips that I have for you. So if you are leaving a corporate job, or you've already left your corporate job and you're looking to grow your business, if you have a side hustle and you want to expand it into a full-time job, basically you want to hire people to do that. And the first person you hire, you want to follow these 5 steps. So number 1, you want to clearly define the role. What is this person going to do? You want to have it well thought out, and they need to know it. This is a big mistake a lot of people make, is that you're not 100% sure, so you hire somebody and you're not 100% sure what they're going to do, so they're not 100% sure what they're going to do. And they're going to develop bad habits. This is human nature. It's almost unavoidable. The less structure you give a new hire, the more likely they are going to fail. They're going to burn out, they're going to get bored, they're going to feel like they're not contributing, and they're going to quit, or they're going to just work and not actually do anything. So to ensure that you have a very happy, productive first hire, make sure you clearly define their role. Bullet point out what it is they're going to do daily, right? It may be something that's fairly routine, but you want to make sure it's clear. You want to set clear expectations of how long you think it should take them to do these tasks. Is it definitely a full-time job, or can it be done in less than full-time? If it's less than full-time, then you want to make sure that they're doing things by the hour so that you can adjust how many hours you pay them based on what they're doing versus a blanket amount. I always recommend that your first hire should be somebody you pay hourly and you add on. You start out with a couple hours a day and then you get to full-time over time. This way, you're not overpaying somebody for sitting around not doing anything, which is a very common mistake a lot of people make when they hire their first employee, especially a virtual assistant who you never actually are sitting next to in person. You're communicating with them online all the time, and they're probably even on a different part of the planet. They're probably in a different country, and that clear expectations of the role is really, really important. You want to make sure you determine the compensation up front, right? So you want to figure out how many hours it takes for them to do the tasks you give them, and you want to pay them fairly. You want to figure out what the market rate is. You never want to be the cheapest, right? So yeah, you want to save money to grow your business. Yeah, you're bootstrapping, you're doing things on a shoestring budget because you're launching this, but you can't go too cheap with talent. If you pay for cheap talent, you're going to get cheap results, right? So you want to find where the market rate is at. For example, if you want to hire a general virtual assistant, someone from the Philippines who's got experience working online for American clients, they probably worked at a call center, they probably got a college degree, that means they've got pretty good English, they've got a good work ethic, you got to pay them at least $4 an hour. Anything less than that, it's like not worth their time. It's not fair. You can get ones that can do it, but a lot of times you'll get the results of they're not very good. You want to pay a little more than $4. You want to pay, probably half of what you would pay somebody here. So if you're in a part of the U.S. where the minimum wage is, $9-10 an hour, plan on paying somebody at least $5 to $6 an hour. I think it's a fair wage. And then when they have a fair wage, they're going to keep working for you. And that's a big deal. You want to look long term. If you want to hire somebody for project work, don't hire a virtual assistant. Hire somebody through Fiverr or a short-term project person. Don't hire a quote-unquote employee. And most of you, your first hire is not going to be a legit employee anyway. Most of us don't start out ready to hire employees and do all the government reporting and do the benefits and all that kind of stuff. Usually we hire people part-time online to be able to grow our business until we get to a point where we can actually start worrying about all that HR stuff. So clearly define the role, determine the fair compensation, and then prioritize for cultural fit. When you interview people, and I just dropped a video recently about how to hire your first virtual assistant, you want to prioritize a cultural fit, right? So you want to make sure they vibe with you. That when you explain your vision to them, they get it, they see it, they can comprehend what your goal is with your business. This is very important. If you hire somebody because they got all the perfect skills, but you don't quite jive with them, it's not going to work out. They're just doing it for the money. They're just doing it for the paycheck. And over time, they're going to start giving you a lower and lower ROI, most likely. Now, you can hire some professionals just to do certain things like graphic design or video editing. You don't have to be all chummy with them. But if you want to have somebody who's your right hand, somebody who can manage your social media for you, answer emails for you, do things the way you want them done and the way you would do themselves, you got to have that fit, right? You got to make sure that you guys are on the same page. So prioritize for your first hire cultural fit. And I mean by that by your work culture, right? What you expect. Are you a morning person or a night person? Do you like to chat a lot, or do you like just to keep it simple? Whatever it is, hire someone that fits that, right? You want to make sure, again, that you have that right vibe. Number 4, have a thorough interview process, right? It's easy to make a lot of mistakes here, especially for first-time entrepreneurs, people hiring people the first time. There's a lot of people out there that speak a good game, that can talk it up, but don't back it up, and they're hard to recognize at first. A lot of people are going to be over-promissory in their replies to your job postings, in their cover letters, in their interviews even. They're going to say they can do all these things. You need some proof in the pudding, right? Ask for a portfolio, ask for references, ask for examples, give them a project, a trial project to work on. And if they do it right, then pay them. But if they don't do it right, then you know it wasn't a good hire, and hopefully you didn't hire them already. A thorough interview process. Get them to talk about themselves. Explain what your vision is and ask them to tell you, to repeat it back to you, for them to paraphrase what it is you just said. Have that to make sure they get it, that they get what you're doing. You can't hire somebody that doesn't fit what you want and have success. It just doesn't work, right? Especially if you're hiring someone online who's in a different country. You really, really want to focus that your interview process is getting to know the real them. Make sure they're on camera. This is non-negotiable, right? Don't ever hire anybody who says they can't go on cam because their cam's not working. Just don't do it. There's too many scams out there, too many people that are faking it. Make sure that they have a good internet connection, they're in a well-lit area, you can see them, interact with them, have good communication. If they don't have good Wi-Fi, don't hire them. If they don't have good communication, if their headset's not working, don't hire them. There are a lot of other people out there that can do the same thing or better that have all that in place, right? They're red flags. If someone doesn't come to the interview ready to go, if they're not on time, if they haven't studied your website first, if they don't ask questions, if they're not prepared from a technical standpoint, then, swipe left and move on to the next one. So the next thing you want to make sure you do is that you set clear onboarding expectations once you hire them, right? So once you've, defined the role and determined the compensation and prioritized for fit and gone through the interview process, you want to make sure that you set clear expectations, especially the first week, right? That first week you want to meet daily, even if it's a Zoom call for an hour a day, you want to have that interaction. Next couple weeks, you meet a couple hours a week, right? Maybe by the end of the first month, you're to the point where you're only meeting an hour or two a week. You should keep that cycle of where you're meeting with them on a Zoom call, face to face. And you want to be chatting every day. Use WhatsApp, use Messenger, whatever it takes to have those daily conversations to make sure they're on the right page, to keep asking them if they have any questions, to keep them engaged, right? So you want to make sure that when you make your first hire, they're treated special because they're going to set a standard. Anybody you hire after will look to that person as a senior to get advice from, to ask questions of, and that person will set the culture for your entire business. So make sure that first person you hire really fits your culture by doing that thorough interview process and then that clear expectations about onboarding, right? So you might have to do some training on how you do things, the systems you use, the apps you like to use, your style, for them to learn their voice. You shouldn't have to train technical skills. The people you hire should already have the skills you need. There are so many people out there that have the skills that you're looking for. It's a matter more of really looking for that cultural fit, right? So that's my tips, for what to do making your first hire, right? So get out there, start finding people that can do things that keep you busy, delegate things that can be done by somebody besides you but have to be done. So you can focus on what you do, right? So only you can be the face of your business. Only you can be, talking mostly to clients. Only you can do things to grow your business that require your attention. Everything else can be hired or delegated to a virtual assistant, right? So that's what you want to focus on. This is the first thing I did after my first business didn't work out. It was actually a beautiful disaster. A year of spending too much money on the wrong things, but learning a lot of good lessons. So in year 2, I launched a new business, basically 2.0, my first business. And I was much more successful because I hired virtual assistants. I clearly defined their roles. They were going to manage my social media, do appointment setting and lead generation. I made sure that I had fair compensation, what was a good market rate for them. I prioritized over cultural fit, people I could chat with and get along with, people that I wanted to work with. I did a thorough interview process. I interviewed both of them twice, one time online and one time in person. And I set clear expectations of what we're going to do every day. So they knew what was expected of them. I gave them clear feedback. And after about 3 months, I had to let one of them go because she wasn't meeting my expectations that I had clearly defined. So it was kind of like, okay, she wasn't surprised that she was being let go. It just wasn't a good fit. It wasn't the right, match for her. The other person was with me for quite a while, and I still, consider to be one of my proteges and someone out there who's making a difference every day as a virtual staffing agency owner. So anyway, these are my tips for today. I hope they help. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not already done so. Drop any comments you might have, and be on the lookout for more tips for you based on what I learned when I left Wells Fargo. So have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.